No action is in vain. With every action, there is a reaction. No matter how big or small, each action and reaction makes up, determines, and affects the greater outcome of the preceding universe. With such actions and reactions, which are also actions, the preceding universe is forever changed, even slightly. These changes, no matter how small, amount to large differences in the grand scheme and literally, physically skew the entire preceding existence that comes after the action in question. The preceding universal path is constantly being changed by minute decisions and exchanges in the moment on an individual level. Small changes at one point in time can spell incredibly differing future universes down the line. A famous example of this is the butterfly effect. In the butterfly effect, as Wikipedia says, a small change in one state can result in large differences in a later state. The term butterfly effect refers to a theoretical phenomenon that describes how the conditions which form a tornado are influenced by minor perturbations, such as a butterfly flapping their wings weeks prior. In life, every exchange physically skews the universe. Because all falls into the dual-pole nature of yin and yang, the skew will ultimately go in one of either direction, depending on the judgment from a single perspective. Skews act simultaneously in both poles. What's good to one might be bad for another. Killing a chicken for dinner brings us food and feeds our family while bringing an end to the universe of the chicken. Throwing a plastic bag in a stream rids us of the burden of the plastic bag and gives it to nature to deal with. Since things are never at balance, and instead are always in flux, few, if any, things can act without creating a skew, and therefore every exchange one partakes in will skew things for the better or for the worse by standards of any single perspective. Each action we take physically skews the rest of our lives, and simultaneously, because the world does not revolve around us, skews the entire surrounding universe. The skew begins at a single point in time, and everything continues accordingly afterwards. The term skew is aimed to animate the concept and truth that our actions have reactions which lead to lasting effects on the world. While the dichotomous nature of the universe pervades all things, skews exist in both poles of yin and yang within exchanges. For example, if I buy a plastic bag, my life positively skews. In my perspective, as my trip from the grocery store is made easier, life goes better. And if you were to ask me, it was a good decision that contributed positively to my life. While at the same time, the well-being of the planet and amount of plastic waste skews negatively, as now the plastic has been condoned, consumed, and will inevitably have to be discarded. Similarly, in a meal where I decide to eat a mass-produced beef burger, my hunger will be satiated and my body will be given nutrients, skewing things positively from my perspective, while at the same time condoning and contributing to the destructive processes of mass cattle farming, skewing things negatively for the greater well-being of life on this planet. Similar to drinking a Bloody Mary that is garnished with shrimp, which takes some edge off your hangover but cause the bycatch of 3 fish for each shrimp used. Frequently in the cases of seafood, mass-produced beef, and plastic, the skews we cause are selfishly centered, and the counterbalancing negative skew is ultimately more damaging to our planet than the positive skew to ourselves is worth. Many of the positive skew results we experience can be achieved by alternatives and other sources, while the negative skew caused by our actions leads to lasting damage and destruction on Earth, our source of nutrition. In many cases, the intention behind actions is what matters. Habitual intention to do positive for sustainable life will yield a positive skew for the planet and sustainable life. Habitual disregard for sustainable life will yield a negative skew for the planet and sustainable life. So, though something might be good for one human, that does not mean that it is ultimately good and that the action does not negatively affect the planet. Small, everyday actions which seem to be in vain and of no consequence in the moment turn out to not be in vain and end up perpetuating and reinforcing the subtle motivations behind the actions, such as disregard and disconnection leading to further accustomization. Add this up across mass populations of humans who do not care about their contributions to the negative skew, and you have one steep downhill slope actively leading and pushing us away from sustaining life on this planet.